inspired, of extraordinary quality, as if arising from some external creative impulse. Greatness, the state, condition, or quality of being great. This is Inspired to Greatness.
Hey, how's it going, folks? Oh my goodness, I am so thrilled. I gotta tell you guys, with the feedback from the last couple episodes, thank you guys so much for that. Welcome to the Inspired to Greatness podcast, the show all about spreading inspiration, motivation, and being great. I am your host, DJ Matt Blake. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. It's a little rainy here in North Texas, but at least we're not frozen like last week, so I'll take it as a win. Today, we're talking about taking chances and embracing the unknown. We often hear the saying, I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done. Lucille Ball said that. That's going to be our first quote today. And this quote perfectly captures the spirit of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are known for their willingness to take risks, to venture into uncharted territory, forge their own path in the face of uncertainty. But what drives this boldness, and how can we embrace it in our own lives? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to explore the power of taking chances and the importance of embracing the unknown in the pursuit of success in life, in business, in all that stuff, in relationships. I mean, if you're, considering being in a relationship and you go to, ask somebody to go on a first date, that's a risk. So, anyway, let's jump right in with our quotes today. Got a lot of stuff to discuss. So Lucille Ball, like I said earlier, said, I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done. Man, as long as you're willing to accept the consequences for the decisions you make, it's a no-brainer to make the decision and try things, do things, than to look back later and regret not doing and not trying. And then it's too late. You cannot go back and have a do-over in life. It doesn't work like that most of the time. Sure, there's instances where you might be able to, go back and take another shot at something, but for most, you've lost time for sure, so you're really not in the same instance. Brian Tracy, one of my favorites, Brian Tracy said, I found that luck is quite predictable. If you want more luck, take more chances. And luck is just the combination of preparedness with opportunity, right? I believe we've talked about that before. When if you want to be lucky, just be prepared and wait for the opportunity. And then people will think you're lucky, but you're not really lucky, you were just prepared. And Dale Carnegie, who we talk about a lot on the show, one of my favorite authors, just great stuff he's put out over the years. Dale Carnegie said, take a chance. All life is a chance. The man who goes farthest is generally the one who is willing to do and dare. So, I mean, that's really true. You're not going to go anywhere if you're too afraid to take a risk, take a chance to get it done. I mean, walking out of your house is a chance you take. Getting in your car and driving down the highway to anywhere, it's a chance, Anything could happen. I tell my son, you'll know Patrick, I've talked about on the show before, he's 16, and he does wrestling in high school, and he had a tournament, and the first guy he was going to face placed third at state last year. So he's a very, very good wrestler. And I told Patrick, I said, in any given day, any person can beat another person. Like, any given day, you could win. Like, no telling what'll happen. He could have an off day. He could slip. You could do very, very well, and he could do very, very poorly. You could just overcome him. He could be tired. There's a lot of different things that can happen when you just go at it and take that chance. So, life is full of opportunities, but oftentimes we do is we let fear hold us back from seizing them. All life is a chance. The man who goes farthest is generally the one who's willing to do and dare. It's just easy to play it safe, to stick with what we know, to avoid taking risks. But the truth is that taking chances is what allows us to grow and to eventually achieve great things. It's through taking risks that we learn, we adapt, we evolve, we go places. If you're not going to take a chance, you're going to be stuck on the sidewalk. You're going to be stuck on the couch. You're not going to be going anywhere. So I encourage you to take a chance, whether it's in your career, your personal life, your relationships. And it might not always be easy to do, but that's what makes it worth it. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. When you're taking chances, you seek out the help and support of those around you, people who believe in you, people who believe in your potential, people who want to see you succeed, the cheerleaders in your life, in your network, in your circle, in your tribe, whatever you call it. And just remember, though, the greatest rewards come from taking the biggest risks. So let's be willing to do and dare. Like Dale Carnegie said, let's take a chance and see where it goes. All right, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going to give you 6 ways to effectively take business risks. So it's important to take risk. If you don't take risk, you're not going to grow, you're not going to move forward. But how can you take risks that are calculated? How can you take them effectively so that when the downside does happen, because not all risk is going to turn out the way you hope. You're not going to get the upside to every risk. To mitigate that, you have some tips here. Okay, we'll just go over them. Number 1 is define your goals. Before taking any risk, it's important to have a clear understanding of what you want to achieve. This will help you basically make an informed decision and prioritize your efforts. Like, what's the goal here? Why are we taking this risk? Why are we spending the money to buy this new equipment? That's a risk, right? In my business as a DJ, when I go into a situation and want to buy new equipment, what is this going to do for me? It's going to give me an opportunity to do different events. Is it going to add a service to my business I had not had before? Is it going to, what's it going to do? What's the goal here? What do you hope to achieve by taking this risk? What's the upside? That way, you know what you want to focus on in taking the risk. Number 2, conduct thorough research. Taking risks does not mean just jumping blindly into the unknown. That is silly. There's not a lot of upside to doing that. Make sure you gather as much information as possible before making a decision. This could be like market research, competitive analysis, financial projections, like pro and con list, right? If I do this, what is the upside? Generally, if you're taking a risk, the upside vastly outweighs the downside. So, you have to research this. You have to know, and when I say take risks, I'm not talking about doing things, just like off the cuff, like immediately, like say, hey, do you want to go do this? Oh, sure. You have to think and consider these things. So, do some research on the risk you're taking. Find out, the lay of the land, so to speak. Number 3 is build a support system. Briefly touched on this in the intro. No one succeeds alone. Very few people are successful because they win it all by themselves. If you surround yourself with trusted advisors, mentors, partners who can provide guidance and support as you navigate the ups and downs of risk-taking, of taking this risk, of doing this thing, then you're going to have a much higher percentage of success when you take a risk. Like, I have insurance people who I rely on to know certain things. I have financial people I rely on to know certain things. I have marketing people. I do a lot of my own marketing. You guys know I was in marketing forever, but I have other people. I talk to. My support system is a large, vast group of people. There's other DJs I talk to. There's other business owners. I talk to my parents, and I talk to my kids. And I'll tell you this, my kids are young, and they're not business owners, and they've had limited success out in the real world outside of like school and sports and that kind of thing. But I'll tell you why I talk to my kids. Because talking to your support system is not just about getting, the vast experience of all their collective knowledge. Talking to your support group and those people you trust, those people around you, is also about gaining perspective and seeing things in a different way. And if there's somebody who can see something in a vastly different way from me, as a 43-year-old entrepreneur, DJ, podcaster, is my 16-year-old son, or my 14-year-old son, or my 12-year-old, or, they have a vastly different view of it, and it's so simple. Crazy solutions they could come up with. They could be like, it'd be really cool if you could do this. And it might seem off the wall, but it might spark other ideas. And so, But that's not about taking risks necessarily, but it's part of having a support system. Have a support system from a variety of the world around you. I talked to my parents. My parents have built and grown businesses and worked, 20 years longer than I have. So you want to build that kind of support system so that you can lean on them and get advice and, support. That's why I call it a support system. So you have a higher chance of success. Number 4, and this I go back and forth on, have a plan B. While taking risks is important, it's also wise to have a contingency plan in place. So consider what you would do if things don't go as planned and have a backup option so you have somewhere to fall back if necessary when you're taking that risk. Now, I am one who is very much like, this is the plan. And I'm talking like overall, the big picture. The plan is I'm going to be a DJ. I'm going to run this entertainment company, and there's no backup. This is what I'm doing. It's do or die. I put all my eggs in this one basket because I want to purposely focus all my energy on this one basket and move this forward. This is the main thing. I find sometimes that if people have a backup plan, it's easy to become lackadaisical about how much effort you put into the main thing. Like, if you're working with a safety net, how seriously do you take the risk of, I have to succeed? This business has to succeed because I have nothing to back up on. Now I could go find work. But there's not an underlying backup plan. I'm not like, well, if this doesn't work, if I don't make any money this year, then I'll just go back to this. That's not how I think. I think if I'm not making money, I got to figure out a way to fix the business and continue pushing forward. So having a plan B as it relates to taking a risk is important, but I think in the big picture, a plan B can slow you down. I don't think you should have a safety net under your business necessarily. That may sound counterintuitive, but that's just my experience. That's the kind of person I am. So, number 5 in our 6 ways to effectively take business risks is embrace failure. Now, we've talked about failure a lot on this podcast. Failure is an inevitable part of taking risks. It's part of the process. But don't let it discourage you. Look at it as a learning opportunity to grow and improve. And if Bobby was on the show, he would love this because I'm fixing to make another sports metaphor. And that is where I was talking with Patrick, my 16-year-old, who had a wrestling tournament, district tournament, and he did not do well. He lost. And I told him, I said, we learn when we lose. If you win all the time, you never learn anything new. But when you lose, you learn, what did I do wrong here? What did they do right? How can I get better from this experience? And so, he's got 2 more years of wrestling in him, and he's got a lot to learn in these first 2 years and the losses and that kind of stuff. So it's really been a good opportunity for him. But embrace failure. If you take a risk and it doesn't pan out, okay, what did I do wrong? What could I do differently next time this opportunity comes along? Because a risk is really just taking an opportunity. What can you do to make sure that works out better for you next time around? So that's what that. And number 6 is stay flexible, folks. The business landscape is constantly changing, and being able to adapt to new challenges and opportunities is a key to being successful. Stay open-minded and be willing to pivot if necessary. The DJ industry, there's a lot of things that change. Music changes, but really there's not a lot of huge pivots in my industry. But in other industries, sure, like if you're in insurance or if you're in, money management of some kind, or you're in the automotive industry, things change drastically for every few years. And so being able to stay flexible in your business, no matter what that is, I'm flexible as a business owner, and when somebody might say, hey, will you DJ this event? And it's not something I've done before, but I'm confident in what I can do and that I can figure out how to make that work out. I can figure out how to do that. Like I DJ'd at a train station, and I'm like, hey, well, what can I do here? How can I make this work? Kind of thing. So staying flexible and being able to adapt to challenges and adapt to the opportunities that come with the risks you're taking and opportunities that come with everyday business. Because I'll tell you this, the people who can adapt, the people who can evolve, the people who can stay flexible are going to be the ones that succeed. COVID nonsense, I will just say it's nonsense. The COVID malarkey from the last few years is a great, great example of this. Businesses that were able to adapt and pivot and work through and make it happen. We did have a huge pivot in my industry. We started doing a lot of virtual events. I was DJing over Zoom for schools. And the businesses who were able to keep moving forward and pivot and find ways to adapt to that changing landscape are still here. And there's a lot of businesses who are not around anymore because they couldn't find a way to adapt to this new nonsense, the new normal, whatever you want to call it. This is a great example. It's a great example right there. So those are 6 ways to effectively take business risks. Define your goals. Conduct research. Build you a support system. Have a plan B. Embrace your failure and stay flexible. Good stuff, folks. Good stuff. You do those things, man. You're gonna be able to effectively take risks, but you're also going to be able to effectively run your business. I mean, that's like a step-by-step, 6 steps to success in anything you're going to do. Define a goal, conduct research on it, have a support system, build a plan B, embrace the failures, and stay flexible. That's just start to finish. That's basically how you start a business, how you start any kind of thing, how you go into any goal. So that's a great checklist. I love that. I put together a good one there. So, okay, business tip for the day. I'm going to give you a business tip and a tool before we do our pod deck this week. Business tip is have a joke. Always have a joke ready to tell. Always have a joke ready to tell. And if you can at all, relate it to your business. I have 2 great jokes I tell related to my business so that you can use them in conversation or social settings. And being funny endears you to people, right? You're not just another face in the crowd at a networking event. You had a funny joke. And if you can relate it to your business, it'll reinforce that branding and who you are. For instance, here's one of my jokes. I'll tell people, when I started DJing, I didn't have a lot of money for equipment and fancy, speakers and stuff. So I had to use whatever I could find, and I used speakers made out of chocolate. But they sure sounded sweet. Get it? They sounded sweet. I got another joke, but maybe I'll tell you another time. But find a joke related to your business and just always have a joke on the ready. Always have a joke on the ready. It works great. I DJ a lot of school events, and jokes work great with kids. Like when you're setting up and you're just bantering with people, a joke is always fun. So here's the tool I suggest you all use. I think I've talked about this before on the podcast. In fact, I'm quite sure I have, but, we've been doing this for a few years now. Google Voice. Google Voice will give you a free phone number. Yeah, I have a phone number for this podcast. It is, what is the podcast phone number? 972-653-1359. Yeah, 972-653-1359. I have a phone number for my business that's a Google Voice number. And you can have those ring to your phone. And then the cool thing about them is you can record the conversation. If someone calls you, you can press forward or record the conversation, and then it'll email you the recording. You can also have it transcribe your voicemails, and send it to your email. And it's free, and it's a great way to separate your cell phone number, and you can have it ring at any number you want. So if you ever get a business line, landline, you can keep the same number, just have it forward over. So Google Voice, use it, love it. You can text with it, all kinds of stuff. So let's do this.
This episode is powered by Pod Decks. Pod Decks are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you're a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience and have more meaningful conversations, you're going to want to check out Pod Decks. Now, if you want to get 10% off your order right now, you can go to poddex.com and type in coupon code
DJ Matt. Code? DJ Matt.
Yes, that's the code. Check out poddex.com. Take your podcast to the next level.
All right. Thank you, sir. We're going to take our podcast to the next level right now with our pod deck question of the show. If you had to teach a class on one thing, what would you teach? Well, I would probably teach a class on podcasting, to be honest. because I love it. I've been doing it longer than most of my friends and people I knew what a podcast was. That's what it'd be. But if it was not that, it would be on the things I talk about on this podcast. It would be on, risk-taking and staying motivated in your business and, putting your best foot forward and that. Because, we have a new podcast episode every week. I could talk about a different topic every week related to, being an entrepreneur and living that life. And I think if you ask yourself this question, I think it is a great exercise to see ways you should be putting your skills to use in your life. Like, I do this podcast because I love to help, encourage, and coach other business owners on, how to stay positive, how to move forward, how to best deal with the everyday humdrum of being an entrepreneur running a business. And so I don't own a coaching business. I wouldn't mind owning a business coaching business. I'm a public speaker, so I certainly enjoy doing that. But I think having this podcast fulfills that skill set of mine. And I think if you run that exercise in your head, say if you had to teach a class, what would it be on? And if you aren't using that skill in some way in your life, then it might lead you where you want to go if you're kind of looking for somewhere, to go with your business in your life or whatever. What have you? Let's see here. So in the business world, opportunities come and go. It's up to us to be ready and willing to take those opportunities, whether it is a new market, a partnership, a new product. It's important to be open to new ideas and opportunities. Being an entrepreneur is not an easy task. It's not not easy. There are always going to be obstacles, but remember that these obstacles are also opportunities to learn and grow, just like failures, right? That's the key, is to see opportunities in every setback, every failure, every challenge. Don't be afraid to take risks there. So I encourage you this week to be on the lookout for new opportunities, and when they come your way, don't be afraid to take that opportunity. Remember, true success will come from taking chances and making the most of every opportunity that comes your way. So this week, I want you guys to be successful. Be successful. Be the business owners, the entrepreneurs you're meant to be by having the chance come along and you taking that chance. There's a quote by Jimmy Carter, "Go out on a limb, that's where the fruit is." I really like that one. Go out on the limb, that's where the fruit is. You're very rarely going to be rewarded by staying where you are and not reaching for anything. Mark Twain said 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. I mean, if you have an opportunity for something great and you're too worried about the risks to take that opportunity, years down the line, you're going to regret that in some way. And Roger Babson said, the successful man is the one who had the chance and took it. Had the chance and took it. It's very difficult, probably impossible to be successful if you never take a chance, if you never strike out and try to seize the opportunity. As entrepreneurs and business-minded folks, we all understand the importance of taking bold steps forward in order to reach our goals. But why is it that some of us are more hesitant to take those leaps of faith? The fear of the unknown, the fear of the failure, these are common obstacles that hold us back from reaching our full potential. But I want to tell you something. Taking calculated risks is the key to unlocking success. When we take those risks, we are making a deliberate, informed decision based on research and a clear understanding of our goals. It's about weighing the potential rewards against the potential risks and making a decision based on that analysis. Taking calculated risks allows us to break free from the constraints of the status quo, to innovate, to push the boundaries of what is possible. It opens up new doors, it creates new opportunities, both for us personally and for our business. So I urge you to embrace risk-taking. Don't let fear hold you back from reaching your full potential. Believe in yourself, trust your instincts, and know that success is within your reach if you're willing to just take those leaps of faith. And remember, as Richard Branson said, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes. Then learn how to do it later. So go out there, take those risks, my friends, and watch as your business and your life soar to new heights. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Inspired to Greatness. Please check back with me every week for fresh tips, new shows. Very shortly, we have some guests coming on. Visit the website at itgpodcast.com. Look for us on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeart, and Spotify. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit itgpodcast.com/beourguest. If you have a question or topic suggestion, you can email the show at inspiredtogreatnesspodcast@gmail.com. You can find the show on Facebook at Inspired Podcast and on Instagram at Inspired to Greatness Podcast. And remember, we have everything on our website at itgpodcast.com. Thanks again, my friends. Go do amazing things. Be awesome. Take your risks. Go inspire, motivate, and dominate.